Welcome back to Chris Veve Journey. Today we take a look at Uncanny X-Men 142, as well as a little look at all the one-of-one auctions that have passed in the last few weeks. I think that's interesting. Nobody seems to talk about it a lot. So yes, we take a look. Let's go. So today's drop is Uncanny X-Men 142, the second part to the Days of Future Past storyline that started a few days ago. It's an interesting choice. Veve didn't mention that we get the whole storyline, so it's interesting. Do we get the whole storyline, or is it just a second issue of the storyline? This was also released in 1981, also from Chris Claremont and John Byrne, and yeah, it's kind of a key comic because you have the death of Wolverine, Storm, and Colossus, but which, if you don't know, these are main members of the X-Men, so that's prime figures dying in this comic book. But it's not the regular characters, it's the ones from the alternate timeline that die in this story, so it's kind of a key. I mean, people collect it, so I guess it's a key comic, but yeah, just not the biggest key comic out there. Again, we have 20,000 editions at the price of 6.99 gems, which makes sense. It's I hope they don't switch that up. I mean, I've seen some people on Twitter asking if they would like to switch it up so it becomes more rare. I don't like that idea. That means when they bring the whole story, there's only a certain few people who can collect the whole story and all the others can't, which sucks. So I don't like that. It's pretty much like what they did with the what was it, House of X and Powers of 10, but then again they didn't bring the whole run of that storyline either, so it doesn't make much of a difference here. So let's take a look at the cover. So here's the classic cover. I mean, it's fine, it's not great, but it's fine, I guess. Then you have the uncommon, ugly as hell. Then you have the rare and ultra rare. Those are exclusive to Veve, again by Trevor Von Eden and Edgar Delgado. So Edgar Delgado only on the cover, on the colors of the ultra rare. And then we have the secret rare with Kitty Pryde on the cover. Oh, it's just simple as hell. Let's say it like this. It's simple as hell. It doesn't look super great. I mean, I was praising the first book here, the Uncanny X-Men 141, for having a different perspective of the original cover. I like that we were behind Wolverine and were looking at the Sentinel. That was a smart idea. This here is, I mean, it's similar because it is a changed perspective, and a changed perspective is actually a quite interesting theme in regards to the storyline. I even get that. It's just that on this cover it doesn't work too well. I mean, this is basically, here you look from the side and here you look just from the front. The Wolverine is rendered quite well, looks quite nice, but yeah, it's just not the same. Like the first one was a really smart move. This is okay. This is okay, but I like the perspective thing. Now, is this going to be interesting for the MCU? I totally don't think so. I don't think so. We already have the movie Days of Future Past. It's not the most liked movie, let's put it like this. It's from the Fox edition of the X-Men. Even if Marvel were supposed to bring this movie, or let's say Disney were about to bring this movie, they would do it later. Like this is the third or fourth or even fifth movie you would bring, because you need to have, these characters need to be established beforehand, and then you can go ahead and kill them in the future and go back in time and yada yada yada, all this stuff. So yeah, interesting choice. That's all I can say here. Interesting choice for a book. I'm quite thrilled to see if we get the rest of the storyline also. Looking at physical prices, it's pretty much what you would expect. This is not an expensive book. Like ungraded, you can get this for 15 to 30 bucks already. If you look at the graded ones, the most expensive one would be the 9.8, and this is around $500 right now. That's it, $500, 9.8. That's the newsstand. The newsstand, of course, is a little bit more rare, and that's going for almost 800. But you can take the newsstands into consideration for these books. I mean, it's a stretch already to take a 9.8 into consideration for these books, but the newsstands, they don't work at all, in my opinion. I don't see how a newsstand, there's no equivalent here that would make it seem like a newsstand. So I just take the regular 9.8 prices. And this is like at $500, you can get a good grade for 100 already. Yeah, this is not expensive, and that begs the question, like, where will the prices go? The first issue of this storyline, we're already at 2 gems for the common. We're already at like 7 for the rare max at the floor. Yeah, this can only go cheaper, to be honest. Best case scenario, it has the same prices as the first issue, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, first issue, it even had a really great rare and ultra rare idea, so that is even missing that. I mean, still, I'm satisfied. I think it's still great to bring them out at 20k editions and do a $6.99 price. I'm satisfied with it. I like it. I really do. I think it's a great idea to have these out in the market, let people buy the book, let people collect it, and have the time and the patience to turn this into a real collectible, and not just force it by making it really, really scarce and hard to get. Especially with Veve having these bot problems that are really apparent, and these problems that they don't have a real fair drop system. So I'm all for it. I don't need to make money on this drop. I can just collect it in the market, collect it anywhere else. I don't care. But that's way better than the alternative, in my opinion. So yeah, that's all about this book, I guess. So let's take a look at the last one-of-one auctions. I find these were pretty interesting. Oh, wrong page. So here it is. That's the Mark Brooks one. The Amazing Spider-Man 49 cover. Now this was claimed by Crave Sarah 69. I have no idea if this is the name of a guy who's just trying to be funny, or if this is actually Sarah behind it. I guess the first one is more likely. And he bid $16,585. And this is interesting. I really find this very interesting, because there's not much talk about these one-of-one editions. There were in the beginning, but right now it doesn't seem that too many people care about it. But the people that care about it are the ones that seems to be in the collector space, or at least really interested in it, because there's still a lot of gems going into these pieces. I mean, that's a big price, and yeah, I find it interesting. Nobody really cares about real world like I do. Like, I value the digital ones way more than the ones that have been digitized and have been physicals before. Like, this has a authentic one-of-one physical counterpart that looks exactly the same. Like, there's no difference. This thing was painted by hand and someone owns it. It has the real original. So this is really nothing more than artist proof at max. So I'm quite surprised that these get these amounts of gems. But maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just I that thinks that way. The next one, Dr. Prophet got this one. Amazing Spider-Man, not amazing, Miles Morales Spider-Man 1. I talked about this. Not a very special issue, but a dope cover. It is dope. It looks great. By Brian Stelfreeze. 17k for this one. That's top money. I think it's even the second most expensive one. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's a big boy piece. And in this case, what I just tried to say with the Mark Brooks one, I understand that you pay a lot on this one because this has no physical counterpart. This really is a one-of-one. There's only this one NFT and there's no physical counterpart. So I would expect that people invest more in these pieces, but yeah, like I said, we have to see how the market will work in the future. Nothing special on this cover, but I have to say this is a really graphic one, and it will look great if you have a digital frame in your room and you can display it at a high resolution. This will look great. This will make an awesome piece in your collection, pretty sure. So this was from Arthur Adams, the Immortal Hulk 4 cover. Pretty sure there is a physical counterpart out there to this piece. I never made a video about it. I must have slipped me. Yeah, there's a lot of work in this piece. Like, this was labor-intensive work, and it is done really, really well. And this only made 4,675, and it was won by Top Dog. So, I mean, Top Dog will be really happy that he only had to pay 4,675. Arthur Adams, I mean, he's known, like, people know Arthur Adams. That is a great artist, and a really labor-intensive piece. So, yeah, I'm surprised that this is just at 4,600. But whatever, it is what it is. Then we had the Humberto Ramos Amazing Spider-Man 692 cover. This is Spider-Man, so that got at around 10k. Yeah, pretty sure there's a physical counterpart here also. I don't know. I would have thought the Arthur, but yeah, I mean that depends on who is the artist and who are the people collecting. I think if this app was full of comic book collectors, the Arthur Adams one would have been at least in the same range like this one. But I think here it's a Spider-Man name that weighs a little bit more, and that's because it's so it gets more expensive. Also, won by Crave Sarah 69, who won the last one. And here's also the Steve McNiven one from Captain America 25. That was also not a special issue or whatever. But yeah, there is a physical counterpart that looks exactly like this. It's a pencil edition, and this is 5,616, also by Top Dog, which is a nice price because it has the 616 in it. So that's pretty dope. Yeah, again, Steve McNiven. It's like, that's a household name, and 5,616. But I don't know. I'm not collecting in this space, right? I don't have the gems to go in there and play like that. So yeah, I just find it interesting. But that's a piece like I didn't go for this piece because there's a physical counterpart. For me, the most interesting piece here, by large, is this one, the Brian Stelfreeze one. Nobody has a physical piece of this, and it's a Miles Morales Spider-Man, looks great. And then 17k, I get it. I would have done the same. So yeah, I guess that's everything for today. Hope you guys liked this episode. Leave a like if you did, and yeah, subscribe if you haven't yet. And we see us for the next drop. That has to be Star Wars, I guess. R2-D2 gets an animated version. Let's see. Bye bye.